Hey guys, Bladesofgod here from Hammer Bros Gaming, coming at you with our latest video in our Gears 5 Master Escape series. Today we're going to be covering the map Forever. We are going to be running the following classes. I, Bladesofgod, am going to be running the Brawler class. We got Pyrociterwatz, who's going to be running Infiltrator, and Mr. Beardsley, who's going to be running the Anchor. The reason we're running these classes is that they're good general purpose classes who have flame, burn damage and bleed damage capabilities. Looking at our modifiers for this map, we have ghost enemies, so the enemies are in a cloak when they get near us. We have faster venom, which means the venom moves faster, but the three big ones, are even stronger enemies and more lethal, which means enemies deal 3 times more damage and damage to players is increased along with execution rules, meaning downed enemies must be killed up close, so bleed and burn damage will affect the enemy to down them, but it'll only kill them if you're near them. Other than that, we have Iron Man and more health on as well. So this map, the sort of new the unique thing about this map is that every time you play it, the enemy set changes. So I can't really give you a guide for which enemies you're going to face every single time, because there are a lot of enemy sets that the game rotates through, and it will mix and match each room every time you play differently. But what I'm going to show you is the path that we took, the ammo rooms that we hit, and kind of places that you can hold regardless of what enemy set you get. So right out the door, we're coming over to the left. If you're running this this class setup, we're going to have Mr. Beardsley, who's running the Anchor, grab quite a bit of the ammo that's in this room so he can stock up on his Boltok ammo. You see here Pyro is grabbing a flash grenade, and I am going to be grabbing a little bit of ammo on the Enforcer and Hammer Burst for the burn damage. This video is going to sound a little bit off because I am playing Dizzy and the Brawler class, and Pyro is the Infiltrator, and we're using his footage for this video because my recording software was not working properly when we did this run. So kind of bear with me. I know I'm going to be talking first person about a different subject, but hopefully you'll still understand what I'm trying to convey to you guys. So after we get hit that first safe room, there's only one path that we can go right here. The spawn that we got had a Sire coming at us. You can get a drop shot Scion and I think a free Scion here, and then you can get a room with just Grenadiers and drones, but we got the Bastion with a Sire and some drones and snipers, I believe. You can see I'm trying to get my burn damage on that Bastion right off the bat, and then I'm using my dash and bash ability to try to clean up these enemies because the the execution rules modifier is on. That dash and bash works great. Normally I run Protector instead of Brawler, but I found that with the even more damage even stronger enemies and more damage, the enemies were downing me way too quickly as I tried to close on them to melee, and I found that the Brawler class with the dash and bash worked better than using the Protector's melee attacks. So, as we advance, we cleaned out that room, primarily focusing on bleed damage, burn damage, and the dash and bash. Pyro is a little bit handicapped right here because he doesn't have a shotgun to really capitalize on the Infiltrator's abilities and shotgun bleed. I apologize for my computer noises kind of cutting into the audio here. But anyway, as we came into this next room, we got rejects in this spawn. I'm pretty sure you can get juvies in this room as well. Most of the time that we've run this map, we got the reject spawn, but I think we got juvies once. So what we did is there is a safe room or an ammo room right here that you could go into and lure all of the enemies into, and I would recommend if you get the juvie spawn, you do that. But with the reject spawn, we found it was easier to sort of run this loop and kite the enemies along with you, and sort of take them out one at a time as you can. We did have one drone that we ran past, and he managed to catch up to us, so you saw Pyro doubled back and used that triple melee execution to take him out of commission, and to do that with a controller, it's going to be B to melee, B again, and then press and hold B a third time to execute the stunned enemy. I believe it's the same on keyboard, but you just need to hit whatever button you have set up to do your melee attacks. So once we cleared out all the rejects in this area, we decided to go into the safe room, or the ammo room, I'm sorry, gather up the ammo, divvy it up as we saw fit. You could see that I grabbed a long shot, and that's going to be very useful later on, so you want to make sure somebody has a long shot with them if the sniper enemy or the sniper type enemy does spawn. We get to what we call the big room at the end of the map, and it is very helpful to have a long shot there. So as we advance to the last kind of battle area before the safe room, we got the Sire and Stump spawn. Sire isn't a big deal. Sometimes he's accompanied by a Bastion, and if he's accompanied by a Bastion, the Stump won't be there. So ideally, that's sort of a better spawn type or a spawn setup for enemies. We do have some drones that are giving us a bit of a hard time. This section of map can be very difficult to traverse if you have a powerful enemy that's camping out back. You can see the Stump just downed me with only a couple of shots. And the big issue here is that with the even stronger enemy modifier and more damage on, the Stump does a ton of damage very, very quickly. So you see Beardsley's trying to take some pot shots at the drones to thin out the ranks. Pyro went invis to try to take out some enemies, but he ended up, his invis ran out before he could really do a whole lot. So he had the right idea, but he wasn't close enough when he used his ultimate. So you can see we're kind of sitting on this corner waiting for a chance to advance and take out a couple more enemies and work our way up to the Stump. And thankfully for us, which I don't know why this happened, but the Stump actually retreated around the corner. So all we had to deal with were the drones and snipers. Definitely made life a lot easier, and normally what we would do is, in a situation where the Stump didn't retreat and was just kind of sitting at the top of those stairs where he spawns in, we would have me as the brawler use the ultimate, the train ability, and kind of just get in there, set him on fire, and start bashing him, because it's just, you can't really do enough bleed damage to him from a distance without getting downed. So we ended up having him retreat all the way back to the safe room. You see, I tried to run up here and open the doors, but he was too close, so I decided to activate the train anyway and just went to town, slamming into him to do that burn damage. Again, there's nothing really special about this other than you need to keep a very good pace, because that Venom with faster Venom on is right behind us, and there are more difficult enemy spawns. There are some that are easier. This is sort of the medium, I guess you'd classify it as a medium difficulty spawn of enemy types. So just keep in mind that you do got to keep a good pace as you're advancing through this level. So we just skipped the safe room because it's just a safe room. There's some ammo and supplies in there that you can divvy up as you see fit. Pyro still doesn't have a shotgun, so he's still pretty handicapped. He actually suggested that we restart, and he wanted to run the Blade Master, which would be a great class for this map because you do spend a lot of time in the Venom, and that Blade Master is pretty powerful in the Venom. But we decided to just kind of forge on with the setup that we had, and it ended up working with us. But keep that in mind that you definitely could run, instead of Infiltrator, a Blade Master or Protector class. So you saw we have a Scion and a Pouncer that came up on us. This setup is fairly standard. I feel like we saw this a lot while we were running this map. And basically what we did was I sat back as the brawler and tried to get as much burn damage going on as many enemies as I could with my active reloads. Beardsley was doing the same with his Anchor and his Ball Talk. And then Pyro finally, he rejoiced a little bit at the fact that he was able to get an overkill. Now he was happy because he could start doing some bleed. He grabbed the Buzzkill from the Scion that we had killed, and he's going to carry that forward to try to take out some of the smaller enemies. You get a spawn up ahead of either Juvies or Leeches, so I think it's Juvies or Leeches, and the Buzzkill can actually be fairly effective against those smaller enemies. You can see Pyro felt like he didn't need any additional ammo right now, so he stayed up here on the corner to the way that we were going to advance. Beardsley and I ran back. You can't really see it from this perspective, but if you go the opposite way that you came from, so to speak, the way that we're coming from on the mini-map right now, there's an ammo room back there that you can go to and kind of stock up on shock nades and ammo. But as we advance down here, as soon as you kind of go across that threshold, you're going to spawn in your next wave of enemies. We got the Leech spawn, and as much as they aren't much of a threat, I still managed to get myself down because they went invis and I didn't see them until I was already surrounded. So thankfully, Pyro was right there. Beardsley was just catching up to us because he was out back with I think it was a cryo cannon. Or no, it was a mulcher, I'm sorry. But there is a safe room, so as soon as you advance up that leech corridor, you can hang a right and come into this ammo room. And I would actually recommend trying to get down here as a team before all of the either juvies or, again, I think it's juvies or leeches spawn in on you. And you can hold them, use that door as a choke point, and kind of focus fire on the incoming waves of enemies. There is also ammo, nades, and weapons in here that you can grab. And then sort of diagonal from this ammo room, there is a second safe room that you could get to if you had better luck getting there, just to use it as a choke point. Again, not strictly necessary. If you feel better, depending on the class setup that you're running and whatever classes you're comfortable with, you could definitely use that narrow hallway that you advanced down originally as a choke point. But by and large, it's better to use one of these ammo rooms as a choke point because you can close those doors if you start getting overrun, and sort of just focus fire on the door, whether you're using grenades or explosives or whatever you're going to use to sort of limit the amount of enemies who are coming in at you. So, if you decide to visit this second ammo room, divvy up the ammo. We made sure that Pyro got some ammo for a shotgun because, again, running Infiltrator, we want to make sure he's able to dish out some bleed damage. And once you've kind of cleaned that safe room out, that ammo room out, we're on to the next and sort of final real encounter before the helipad hold. This is what we call the big room. Whenever we come across this on any of the escape maps, it's the big room. And the tactic for this is almost always the same. Regardless what map you're running, pretty much you want to sit right here where these two doorways are and take out as many of the enemies as you can from a safe distance. You can see we got a Pouncer, we got Scions up to the right, we got a Mulcher Scion that's coming down on us, there's a ton of Imagos and rifle drones, so we're using everything we have. This is why I've been carrying, again, I being Bladesofgod, who's running the Dizzy character and the Brawler class. That's why I've been carrying a long shot with me. You see I tried to get some burn damage going on that Pouncer and ended up burning him out. And then Pyro's going to use up his heavy weapon. He was carrying the Buzzkill with him still, so he's going to use that as best he can. And then that Mulcher Scion is coming in at us, and we kind of let him get way too close. He downed me. Thankfully, Pyro circled around behind him while I had him distracted, well, accidentally distracted, and used his overkill to down him. Beardsley popped his ultimate to get his shield up, and that kind of saved him from getting downed. So it could have gone a lot worse, but definitely be aware that that Mulcher Scion with the even more damage modifier will wipe your team very quickly. So you can see I'm still working the long shot, trying to take out as many of the Imagos as you can just to thin the ranks a little bit. Pyro had the right idea here again. He was going to run up the right side. We always go up the right side of this map and try, because it has better cover, and he was trying to get up here and take out some of these enemies and draw a little bit of fire off of us. Unfortunately, his ultimate ran out right as he was getting to the 3 Grenadiers. So we came up, helped him out a little bit. We shotgunned him down. Pyro was able to reload his overkill off of these dropped overkills, and we are advancing. Something to take note of is that the Venom is fairly close to us again. We sort of were out of time, and we're going to have to push up anyway when Pyro took off, and because that deadly Venom was right behind us. But once you make it to the top of that big room, you're pretty much free and clear. The door hold on this level isn't all that bad. There's definitely a lot worse, let's put it that way. So Pyro here with his shotgun and his flash nades is going to post up on the left side of this door as it closes. He wants his right hand advantage with his shotgun to keep himself in cover and be able to see around the right side of that door. He ended up getting downed by a leech, but Beardsley threw out a shock nade. You could see the flame bullets going through the door there as I stayed back and tried to get some burn damage going on the enemies. And yeah, just use your grenades to slow down the enemies as best you can, and that's it. There's not a lot of pressure as those doors seal up. So hopefully this guide helped you. That's all there is for Forever. Again, every time you play this map, it gives you a different enemy set, so if you're struggling, just back out and reload, and I hope eventually you'll get a set that you like. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Bladesofgod, and until next time, have a great day everyone.